Let's go ahead and take a look at some Floridaman headlines in our Welcome to Florida segment. There you go. That was efficient.
That was a very efficient, straightforward segue. I kind of dug it.
That makes sense. All right. So, Florida officer, this ain't a fun story. This shit fucking pisses me off so bad. Florida officer frames people for meth possession. Did you hear about this guy?
No, fuck him.
Dude.
I should hear the story before I say fuck him, but just from the headline.
Florida authorities have arrested former Jackson County deputy accused of making false arrests after planting drugs on drivers, police say in a statement. The allegations have prompted prosecutors to drop charges in scores of cases. Zachary Wester, 26, was taken into custody in his Crawfordville home about 20 miles south of Tallahassee on Wednesday, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. He's being held, whatever. He stands charged with felony counts of racketeering, official misconduct, fabricating evidence, possession of a controlled substance, and false imprisonment. He also faces misdemeanor charges of perjury, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. At least 11 people are suing him in federal court because of violations as well. That's 100 plus cases that are having to be tossed out. Who knows how many of them were legitimate arrests versus how many other people didn't get their cases tossed out. This guy was pulling people over, turning off his body cam, planting drugs in the car after he would pull them over and say, "I smell marijuana," turn off his body cam, stick bags of meth into their car, and then magically discover them and take these people to prison.
What was his motivation? Like, was he just trying to fill his quota, or what? Like, I don't understand it.
That's a good question. But then if I don't think quotas really technically exist, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
I think
is it just a bullshit thing that's like people believe in?
I've known a couple of cops before, and they said it wasn't exactly that. I think there is still some sort of minimum thing that you have to do to be performing your duties. Otherwise, you could just be like cruising around all day, but I don't think it's actually a quota. You know what? Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's find out real quick, because yes, I've always heard of quotas. Police.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, it's one of those things I just, it shows my ignorance. I just accepted it, and I probably should have looked into it more.
Okay, so here we go. In 2016, ticket quotas are commonly defined as any establishment of a predetermined or specified number of traffic citations an officer must issue in a specified time. Some police departments may set, quote, productivity goals, but deny specific quotas. So it does sound like they don't like the word quota, but that they have quotas. So I think we're both kind of right on that.
Okay, so they have them, but they just hate the word quota.
It's what it sounds like.
Talk about their quota.
Correct. Okay. So, I don't know. I mean, why would you have to go so aggressively when other people didn't? As far as what his actual motivation is, dude, that's 100 people. Some of them spent a year in prison. Some of them lost custody of their kids. They're sitting here just fighting it. It damn sure ain't mine. I swear it's not mine. I swear it's not mine. And of course, judges don't believe that shit. They're always going to take the side of the officer. Well, they started to do investigating on the guy after so many claims and how many people he keeps busting with meth. They searched his patrol vehicle. He had like 10 bags of meth on him, a bunch of paraphernalia pieces, just so that he could stick it in people's vehicles, I guess.
That's infuriating. You know, like these are people's lives you're playing with. And like you said, people lose, marriages over this. They lose kids. They lose time of their life,
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I think it's disgusting. I don't even want to like make jokes about it because it's so disgusting.
Yeah, it really is a shame. And I mean, if it's one person that did it, there's a potential that other people are doing it. I mean, I've heard of cops planting drugs on people before, just like we've heard of serial killers before. I don't understand their motivation, but they do it, and they obviously get some sort of sick gratification out of it. And yeah, I mean, not even talking about the more, like the psychological damage that can happen to people when they're in prison. It's like, no, they lost out on wages. They could have potentially lost custody of their kids. There's so many like actual cause and effect things that you can quantify that people have lost or having to give up because of just this sick need for power, I guess. And it just it's a shame. I feel for all the people that have been through that. But have you heard of cops planting drugs before?
I've heard of it, like not in my personal life. Obviously, I've heard of it in like news stories. I've
Right.
never personally known anyone who it's happened to. I've known people who've claimed it, who
Yeah.
they were full of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never actually. I'm assuming it's an extremely low percentage, but one guy can do a lot of damage, as this story proves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do always want to come back to the fact that I don't think all cops are bad. I think that power has a certain allure. Like, it's hard to, like, not be tempted by the ring or whatever from Lord of the Rings. It's like once you get that power, it's hard to not abuse it.
I forget who said it, but they were talking. They said power does not change your character; it amplifies the character you already have. Power and money. They say if you're a bad person and you get power, you're going to be a bad person with power.
Yeah,
if
it's
you're a good
actually
person
a good
and you
point.
get power, you're going to be a good person. I do, however, think because of the nature of a lot of times power and the stuff you have to do to get it, more bad people tend to rise to the top.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I definitely can see a lot of truth in that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Hopefully it's a little bit less grim. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. A 75-year-old Florida man saves his dog from alligator death roll. Man, Florida, dude, I'm telling you, the alligator shit is nonstop. And when I went and saw Crawl yesterday, it's a Category 5 hurricane coming through South Florida. The girl goes to University of Florida, and she's going to see if her dad is okay, and ends up getting stuck in this storm. All these crazy alligator attacks, and I'm like, this is almost going on outside, like right now. Like this is some true to life shit. There's that tropical storm Barry that's kind of bearing down on the Gulf Coast right now. We've been hit by serious hurricanes, and me and Caleb talk about alligator attacks enough that it's like, man, this shit is an epidemic.
Dude, it's constant. It blows my mind how much Florida news has to do with these dinosaurs running around attacking people.
It is crazy. And, like, you kind of joked a little bit ago, like, when you've gone through the weird news, there was only sometimes, like, 5 updates since the previous week. They're, like, adding on a little bit of stories at a time because there's not all that much weird news apparently going on at any given time. And, yeah, sure enough, if it's Florida, there's going to be a gator involved, like at least 25% of the time.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form. If they're not attacking, they're getting attacked, or someone's doing something weird with them.
Keeping it as a pet and feeding it bagels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so a 75-year-old Palm Harbor man says he fought off an alligator after it came out of his pond behind his home and grabbed his daughter's golden retriever by the leg. He sees this gator come out and it grabs the dog by the hind leg, and he goes over and starts hitting it and kicking it. And he says he was squealing a good bit when the thing grabbed him. Me, I'm a nervous wreck. I go up and slip and fall on my rear end, and the two of us are tugging. Alligator is going one way, I'm going the other. Then he says he starts kicking it in the face, and the thing opens its mouth real wide and backed up a little. That's when he grabbed his dog and took off. And the dog, OC, is expected to make a full recovery.
That's insane to me that it didn't just, grab it, do the death roll, and rip off its leg.
Yeah, my buddy Holden, when we went and saw the movie yesterday, he's like, do gators always do that roll? And I'm like, yeah, 100%. And he's like, is it to disorient them? I'm like, no, it's to dismember them. It's to freaking rip their limbs off,
Have you seen the video of the gator doing it to another alligator?
I think you showed it to me.
Yeah,
and I thought it was crazy. Yeah, man.
It literally, and I'm assuming that skin's tough and everything on a gator. It takes that leg off like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're a dog person.
Uh-huh.
So, if heaven forbid this were to happen, would you have the balls to run up and save your dog?
I 100% think I would. I 100% think I would. And there's a big reason why is I look at alligators as big, stupid lizards. I think that you could get over on one as long as you're not like putting yourself in the position of prey. You know what I mean? Like if you're going at it. Now, I don't know if I would straight up go in with no sort of like stick or something to whack it with. I'm not going into like we've joked about before.
Yeah. Its eyes.
Yeah, I'm not going Russian kid fucking training for the MMA with this thing. I get it in the death roll. I just start fucking rolling that thing around in the grass. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would like to think I would, but my first instinct would be look around, find something you can use as a spear or to bludgeon it with, and then go from there.
100% being honest, I would chicken out. I'd be like, sorry, like that sucks, but you gotta go, dog. Now, if it was a person getting attacked, I would like to think I'd have the balls to rush in, especially if it's someone I knew. But a dog, I probably would just be like, sorry, man.
So, and I understand that 100%. Is a human life worth the same? I mean, we kind of talked about that before. I don't think so. But you've never encountered an alligator before, I'd imagine.
No, I've seen them at zoos and they're terrifying. So that's also another reason.
And I'm much more familiar with them. I think in the course of my life, separate from zoos, I've probably seen, well, there's probably been 10 to 15 incidents where I saw alligators, including one time when I saw probably, no exaggeration, 50 alligators all at one time just off the interstate on the Florida Turnpike.
Sounds terrifying.
It's crazy. They're nuts, but I think the exposure to them, I'm just like, yeah, they're just big animals,
I would assume so, because for me, like, that just sounds terrifying because I've never seen one that wasn't behind glass.
Right.
And so for me, I'd be like, holy crap, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I saw a really cool video. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the podcast right now. I just thought it was so crazy. There is a dog right on the coast of a beach. And some sort of large shark, maybe a 6-foot shark, maybe an 8-foot shark, somewhere in between, rolls up on this dog out of nowhere and goes to attack the dog. There's like 6 other dogs on the beach, and they see it happen, and they straight up jump the shark. Like, they all get out in the water, and they're barking, and they're nipping at it and shit. It ends up fucking getting out of Dodge and hauling ass out of there. So those dogs, like, had each other's back. I thought that was really cool.
That's crazy to think. I mean, it makes sense. Dogs can be, they're pack animals. They can be pretty vicious. Like, if you ever see wild dogs take down a wildebeest, they're terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You look at them as being so nice. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the kind of stuff, that predatory behavior is something you would be more likely to see in cats, but not protecting their own. I think it's interesting just because they're, like, the same species that they would go and fucking jump in and put themselves in danger for another one,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because you think they would just be like, yeah, screw that. It's not directly my pack.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's pretty amazing, fascinating stuff.
Pretty cool video. All right, well, Florida woman arrested after her daughter licks tongue depressor and puts it back at the doctor's office. So this opens up the bigger conversation about this fucking ice cream challenge. This has been a big week on the internet. What are your thoughts about this ice cream challenge, man?
It's stupid. It's immature, and I'm super happy that the girl who apparently started it did get arrested for it. What kind of
punishment do you think a person that does that should be subjected to, or should be what would be equal punishment?
Honestly, it could go up to, I have weird feelings about this. So it could go up to a few years in prison, because I don't know if you remember, I think it was in the 80s, the Tylenol thing, where like people died from people tampering with Tylenol.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and this girl, I believe, had the flu at the time she did it, too, the ice cream, or was just getting over it. She could have given that to an elderly person or a child. That flu kills people in certain age groups,
Yes.
And I don't know what the exact... I mean, but tampering with food and drug is a serious... I believe it might even be a federal crime.
And I think so. So it started with this one girl, and then copycats started springing up everywhere. There was actually a guy in like Louisiana that did it to a carton of Bluebell. Supposedly he had bought the ice cream immediately afterwards, so he just kind of did it for the viral prank of it. However, he didn't own the ice cream when he licked it, so he still got arrested. There's been
Somebody did mouthwash. Did you see?
Yeah, that was disgusting. The girl starts swishing it around and then spits it back into the bottle.
Yeah, apparently she is a like big following on Twitter. I'm like, go arrest her.
And then, yeah, well, and that's the thing is like you can't be putting it out there to where there are a bunch of copycats, whether or not each of these individuals deserves punishment on their own. The fact that they are like putting it out there to the world, it sets an example. It's like, if you do this, you're going to get arrested. And I think they're really being harder on these people to prevent other people for thinking they're going to get a pass on it.
And I think that's smart. I think we need to stomp it out very quickly. I just hate this whole doing things for likes and all that. We put a product out every week, and yeah, I wish it got more views than it did, obviously. Not that I don't appreciate it. I appreciate every single person who listens and watches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the couple hundred that we have across multiple platforms. I appreciate every single one of you. I would never do anything to be an ass myself, look stupid, or do something more importantly that is harmful to other people just for a little social media clout. I feel like that is such a weird thing that is, I feel it is our generation, but more the generation below us.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I have a kind of unconventional way of dealing with this. Like the girl, I don't know why her mother got arrested for it. I guess I don't know the specific details
I didn't know that.
of that story. And then there's a woman who she's a business owner. She worked next door to an ice cream store, and supposedly they said she might have been getting jealous because of the amount of business that this ice cream place is getting. So she went over there, she peed, she spat, and she wiped her hands in the ice cream, which is super disgusting. But I hate the thought, like that lady, that was some malicious, vindictive shit. She should probably get in trouble. These kids, though, that go and do some dumb shit like that, I say you put it like, we're going to pull 10 random people off the street, and you're going to have your eyes like opened up like Clockwork Orange, and you're going to have to let these strangers spit straight into your eyeball. And, like random, like kind of like Russian roulette. Like, we're not saying any of these people do have anything or that they don't have anything. We have no idea. But you're gonna have to take your chances, just like all these other people did. And that's how I think you do it. I like
very unconventional justice. I'm with it.
Yeah. And, you know, talk about getting some headlines, talk about getting some attention like that. You know, be the judge that has a person line up like they're gonna be stoned and then just have everybody spit into their eyeball.
I think that would send a message, to people.
Yeah, teach you motherfuckers to do that kind of stuff, because it is, in a way, it's kind of biological warfare if you want to be super, you know.
That's the thing is, like, I feel weird asking for like criminal time for kids doing pranks. You know, I really do, because we've all done dumb shit,
right?
But when you look at other cases of like people have died from stuff like this,
mm-hmm.
and we need a culture that maybe damns this more. And it seems like for me, what I saw, the very little bit I'm on social media, I did see overwhelmingly like damnation of this, condemnation of
right.
it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anyone like, oh, this is cool, but I feel we live in a time where even bad attention is still attention.